Now, in this question, we have 4/5 of a number is shared equally for Ashley, O'Malley, Shade, and Kamoy. If O'Malley got 175.20, now we're asked how much was the entire amount. Now, basically, what we're trying to find the total money that was shared. There are many ways of working this problem. However, I'm going to work it two ways. I'm going to work it by using a diagram first, and then the second method, I'm going to work it out algebraically and just show you the connection of what's happening here. It's pretty easy. It's pretty fun, and let's just look at it. Now, what basically they're saying here, they're saying 4 out of 5. I have a total sum of money rather, and I've shared out of that, out of a total of 5 parts in the whole, I have given away or shared among 4 persons 4/5. Now let's say then that, let me change my color a bit. Let me change my color. Now let's say then that this part, yes, let's say then that the first part, this part belongs to what's the first name? Ashley. Let's say this part belongs to Ashley. Ashley. Let me put Ash for Ashley. And the second part belongs to O'Malley. Let me just write Omar for short. Okay. And let's say the third part belongs to Shade. So here I would have Shade. So let me write Shade there. And I'll put Shad for short. If you notice, I'm running out of space. And the fourth part would belong to Kamoy. So let me write Kamoy there. Okay, now this is pretty easy. Let me change my color again. Now if you notice what the problem said, it stated that if O'Malley got 175.20, $175.20, and if you notice what they said initially is that the money here was shared equally among these 4 persons. Now if O'Malley got 175.20, then it would suggest that each person would have received 175.20. So in the amount that each person received was 175.20. Okay, so in each of these boxes I will have my 175.20. So O'Malley received 175.20. Shade also received 175.20, and Kamoy also received 175.20. Okay, now obviously it's 4/5, so 4 parts out of 5 parts would have a certain amount. Okay, so let's say then that this was the total money being shared. Let me just change the color a bit. Let's say all of this here, all of this fraction bar that I've drawn initially. Oops, that's a bit ugly. Let me get it a bit better for you. Let's say all of this fraction bar here, okay, that I have put in bracket here, represents the total money that was shared. All of that represents the total money before everything was shared. All right, so if this is the total money, then basically if 175.20 holds in each part, then obviously, let me just change my color to emphasize that. I'm going to change to a black. Then obviously in the last part that was left over, I would have a 175.20 also. All right, and that should make sense, right? So if we're looking at the total money being shared, then the total money would be total money at start. And when we're speaking about the total money, we're speaking about the total money at start. Now the total money would be obviously 175.20 times how many parts you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So since there are 5 parts in my fraction bar, 5 equal parts, then I would have to multiply the 5 by the amount that holds in each part. Okay, and this will be equal to, and let me just work out this quickly on my calculator, and I would get a total of 870 Okay, so there you go. The total money that was shared would be 876, and that's looking at it from a diagram perspective. And as I've said, it's quite simple, it's quite clear, because they said that 4/5, and I'll just run through it quickly again with you. Since they have said that 4/5 of a sum of money was shared, or a number rather, I'm saying it's money, but it could be well, they have the dollar sign here. So 4/5 of some money was shared, and each everybody got the same amount. So they said that it was shared equally among 4 persons, right? And the 4 persons would have received the same amount of money. So Ashley, Amarli, Shade, and Kamoy received the same amount. So I drew my diagram, and if you notice, my denominator had 5 in it, so the total parts should be 5. And out of that 5 parts, 4 persons received the same amount. So in obviously, then, if all the parts are the same, then the amount that holds in one part should hold in the other parts. Okay, hence we have 175.20 in each part. Now for the 4 persons, now the leftover here, if 4 persons receive equal amounts and this part is the same size, then obviously this part we would have a 175.20 left over. Okay, and to get the total money, we just multiplied the number of parts there were in the whole, which is 5, by how much money that we had in one part, and we got that. Now a second method of looking at this question, and it's pretty straightforward, it's pretty easy. And here I'm going to look at it algebraically, because well, this was just to build the concepts of what was happening. So let's look at it algebraically, because in an exam you may not have enough time to draw a diagram or stuff. You have to kind of see the question in algebra. So let's say I had a 4/5, and if you watch the videos on equivalent fractions, this would be quite helpful to answer this question. What I'm saying, I've given away 4 out of 5. Okay, now I know the amount that I had given away. All right, meaning, since I've given 4 persons the same amount and 1 person received 175.20, then it simply means then to get the total amount that I gave away, that would represent the 4, I would have to say 175.2. Let me extend this line, and I'm multiplying that by by 4, because it's 4 persons. Yes, so since 1 person received this amount and everybody received the same amount, then I would just multiply this by 4 to represent the amount of money that was shared. And then I'm finding the total amount, which I don't know, so I'm going to say let the total amount be X. Okay, and I would make that statement here. Let me just put it here. Let the total money be let me change that, be X. Okay, so the total money that I'm trying to find is X. So this is pretty easy. I am just going to say from here 4/5, 4 out of 5, and let me just simplify my numerator, 175.2 times 4, and again you can work that out on the calculator. You should get 700.80 cents. Okay, since it's money we're dealing with, and that's over X. And I got my 780 cents by just multiplying out the 175.2 times 4. Okay, now basically here I have a fraction and I have another fraction, so it is pretty much easy now. When we have a fractional equation working with, I must always find my LCD, because I'm trying to get rid of the fraction, okay, and have a simple linear equation working with. Now my LCD, I'm looking at my denominators and I'm trying to find the lowest common denominator that 5 and x can go into, because 5 and x is in my denominator. Now if I'm looking at multiple of 5 and x, then I could just say 5x multiply my denominators. So my LCD is 5x. Now what I'm going to say here is 5 into itself. I'm going to cancel out now, divide through by my denominators. I'm saying 5 into itself goes once, okay, and 5 into 5x 5 will cancel 5, leaving me with an x. So I'm going to use the x that is left over to multiply my numerator. So I will say now 4 times x will give me a 4x. And that is equal to, again, I'm going to say divide through by my denominator, x into 5x. Now x will cancel x because I'm dividing. X will cancel x. And because this is what I'm saying in my head, okay, let me just jot it down here. I'm saying 5x, which is my LCD out here, and I'm dividing through by x, okay? I've divided through by 5 initially, now I'm dividing through by x. So I'm going to say x into itself goes once, and x into that will cancel also goes once. So I'm left with a 5 if you look carefully. So that 5 that I'm left with, I'm using this 5 to multiply my numerator. So it's now 5 times 780 cents. So what I have here really is 4x, and that is equal to, let me write this for properly. Let me just write this for properly. So I'm saying 4x is equal to, and I'm saying 5 times 780, and that will give me a 3,504. Okay, so I'll get 3,504. Cool. Now what I'm doing here, let me just pull up the screen a bit so that you can see clearly what's happening. Let me stop right there. Let me just stop right there. Now, if you notice, I have a 4x here, and my 4x is, my 4 is multiplying my x. So it simply means then that I must move my 4. Again, I'm isolating the variable. I'm dividing through by 4, meaning I'm going to leave the x here and I'm taking all the numbers to this side. So since 4 is multiplying x, I must do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So I'm dividing through by my 4. What I do to one side of the equation, I must also do to the other side. So here, 4 will cancel 4, leaving me with x. And that is equal to, and what I'm going to say, I'm going to plug in into my calculator now, 3,504, and then I'm going to divide, press the division sign on your calculator, and you're dividing by 4. And you should have gotten back, in money, 876. So here we have illustrated it both ways. You can use a diagram to look at it, or you could work it out algebraically, okay? Whichever way you're comfortable with. It's feel fine, or feel free to work it that way. Now, a very important thing to note when working out worded problems is that after you have finished calculate your values, you must always state your answer in words. Now, that's very important. When given a problem in words, you should always state or present your answers in words. So since the total money now we have received is $876, now you can say, therefore, the total money is $876. Now you don't necessarily have to write it word for word as I have it here, but you can come up with your own sentences, okay? So it's very important when you get a problem in words, you must always, after your calculations, you must always present your answers in words. All right, thank you, bye bye.